Hello, everybody. It's Stephen here for the Idiot Quilter, and I have another fascinating interview for you today with a relatively newcomer to YouTube channels, and we're going to talk about her YouTube channel and everything like that. But this is Susan from Sewing Sensations by Shady Susan, and I'm going to start right off by asking where you're located, Susan.
I am in Delaware, in the center of Delaware.
Okay, so dead center in Delaware. And how's the weather there these days?
Well, today it's kind of warm. My husband said that they cut the bottoms off my breeches because I wear capris because I'm a little bit of an older woman. I don't want my tushy hanging out. He's like, your breeches looks like something wrong with them. Somebody cut the bottom off of them. I said they're supposed to be like that.
Yeah, yeah. We used to call those in high school. I remember kids with short pants like that. We call them flood pants. They knew something
Yep.
we didn't know. So anyway, so let's get right into this. How long have you been quilting?
For almost a year now, I
Oh, you're
guess.
really new. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that, how did you get started then?
Well, I've sewed pretty much all of my life, and I've loved doing crafting and all that stuff. I do a lot of other stuff besides just sewing. And I'd seen a quilt. We went to I live in Amish country. There's Amish all around me. And during the summer, usually they'll have a couple of Amish sales. And I mean, other people, what they call us, the English, we can bring stuff there also and sell it. But I saw all these beautiful quilts and I was like, holy cow, that's a lot of money for a quilt. And so I said, you know what? I bet I got a sewing machine. I bet I can make that too. So that's how I got.
So you did. So you say you've
Yep.
been sewing your whole life. So I'm assuming you probably sewed clothes and that. How young were you when you first started sewing?
I was probably about 8 or 9 years old. I used to make stuff for my little sisters. Barbie doll clothes, doll dresses, stuff like that. And then I started knitting. My grandma taught me how to knit when I think I was 10 or 11. And then I pretty much always I don't remember not really sewing. And then I started sewing in sewing factories. I used to make my daughter's clothes for her, and she was so cute. I'd make the bodice of the dress, and she would wear it around. She'd be running around playing and stuff while I was making the skirt. And I'd tell her, come here, Nicole, bring me your dress so mama can put it together. So she'd bring it, and she was just sitting there tugging at, come on, mama, where's my new dress? And she just loved me making her clothes. And most of her clothes was handmade,
Yeah,
unless somebody else bought her clothes. I'd buy her tight stuff, pretty shoes to go with
right.
them. But she
Yeah.
was a very, very girly girl.
So does she do any sewing now?
No, sadly, I lost her when she was 2.5.
Oh, I'm sorry about
Yeah.
that. It's too bad. Well, at least you've got some fond memories with
Oh, yeah.
your sewing in that. So that's a good thing.
Yeah.
So, was there anybody in your family who influenced you? Did you have any quilters like mother, grandparents?
My grandmother on my real father's side, because I was raised by my stepfather and my mother, but my grandmother on my real father's side, she quilted, but she never showed us girls, and we never got any of her quilts or anything. I used to watch her quilt, but she never, would let her, leave that alone. Don't touch that. She was a crotchety old woman, but
Oh,
I know it's bad to say, but she was. And but my mom, she pretty much always sewed. That's why I always had a sewing machine handy to me because my mom would let me sew on her sewing machine. But but yeah, my mom, she could, like me, just take a piece of fabric, no pattern, nothing, just make something out of it.
yeah, which is
And
quite
I'm
a talent.
probably a much better garment maker than I am a quilter, but I'm getting better.
Well, you've only been
And
doing it for a year.
right. And I can take like my own wedding gown. I bought it used on my third marriage. My first two, I didn't really have a wedding gown. So the one I married my husband now, I got my wedding gown at a like a Salvation Army. I don't know if you have those in
Oh, yeah,
Canada.
we do.
And I bought it there used, and I took it apart. It was way too big for me, and I took it apart, made it fit me all by myself, and fit me perfect, fit like it was made for me, and which I pretty much did. And
Right.
then I took it to the dry cleaners, had it clean it, and looked brand new. And
Well, see, that's a good thing because what with wedding gowns, what they cost, yeah. So you did well, and you got a custom fit too. So
yep,
you
yep.
did well in that. So do you find anything like what do you find different about sewing a garment and then going and sewing a quilt? Because I mean, did you even think about the seam allowance? Because I know in garment sewing it's usually like a 3/8 or 5/8, and
Yeah.
in quilting it's got to be a 1/4 inch. That drive you nuts?
No, these things come in real handy. I always forget I have it. But and then plus my sewing machine has a 1/4 inch on here as to where the 1/4 inch is. And I just butt that little thing right up there to the 1/4 inch and
Away
makes
you
it
go.
easy.
Yeah.
But as far as sewing clothes, yeah, you have a lot of give, and you usually want a little bit extra in there because some of us don't know when to back away from the table and you should might have a growing seams in there.
True,
You know
true.
what I mean?
I definitely know what you mean. Um, so do you have a favorite creation since you started quilting?
Oh yes, I do.
Oh, and you've got it there to show us, I hope.
I do. I just took it down so I can show. If I can figure out which way it goes here. This guy right here.
Oh, wow, the elephant. Oh, yeah. Did you
This
do
is,
that with Donna?
yes, Donna by
Yep,
handmade by Ying
yeah.
with Donna.
Oh, that's gorgeous. I
Mhm.
have not gotten enough nerve to do that. And my for somebody who's only been doing quilting for a year, of course, you come from a sewing background. You've done a wonderful job because
Thank you.
those aren't easy.
Nope. There's a few errors in it, but I can live with them.
And
Oops.
you never point out your errors to
Right.
anybody else.
I got the fabric mixed up because I changed some of the fabric, but it is what it is.
Yeah, well, better done than perfect, but you want to know something? I don't know too many people that have perfect ones. Yeah, I've seen
Right.
that pattern. That's a is that a Violet Craft?
Yes, Violet
Yeah,
Crafts.
that's what I thought. I
And
did do one of hers once too, but not I did, I think, a landscape. I can't remember now what it was, but I just remember, yeah, it's a lot of work, not for the shy. Yeah.
yeah, and for my first FPP, I thought it turned out pretty darn good.
Well, it looks wonderful.
Then
Uh,
we're gonna do this one, March 10th, we're starting.
oh wow.
And
That is that
I
looks
thought,
more
oh
complicated.
wow, that'll be easy. Look how tiny it is.
Uh-huh.
It has 155 pieces to it.
Yep. I know. That's why I don't do them.
And it's 60 by 75.
So it's a
And
good
I'm
size.
using these colors in it
Yeah.
because I got my package. It should be here in a couple of days. And then these are a couple of the other
Oh yeah.
colors.
Well, that's going to look fantastic.
Yeah.
So you'll have to send a picture of it when you have it done to me so I can put it up on my channel and let
Okay.
people see it. Because I do that with people's quilts every week. I
Okay.
somebody. So I'd love to show them your finished product. Show your elephant too, for that matter, as well. So I'm noticing a few things in the background though, as well, like the one with the is that a Lemoyne star or the one with the pink and the purple?
I'm not sure what it is. So Becca,
Yeah.
you know who she is?
Yes, most definitely.
She um did the pattern for that.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I
I
thought
can't remember what
I'm
it's
not really
called.
sure myself if it's to me it looks like it might be a Lemoyne star, but it might not be. There's a
You
lot
want
of
to see it
stars.
closer?
Oh, sure, if you can get it easy enough.
Yeah, I can get it. I say that and then over here. That why you want to sew your seams good. So when you rip on them,
Yeah. Now,
I
did you
want to make a few more of these.
it looks to me like you had to deal with Y seams.
No.
You didn't. Okay, it was
Uh-uh.
designed so you didn't have to. Oh no, I see. It's half square triangles.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
With
Y
these
seams
cold
are not.
flying geese.
Yeah. I see that now when you've shown it up close. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
gorgeous. I really like the colors in it. And
Yep.
love that fabric you've used for the sashing and the corners pieces as well. That's
Yeah, that is this one right here is my favorite. It's Amazing Grace. That
uh-huh.
was the song that we played at my daughter's funeral. I'm a little bit religious, but I don't push it down anybody
Yeah.
else's throat. And then this is inspirational fabric also. That's what I call it.
Yeah.
Inspirational fabric.
Well, it works really well with the other fabric that you've picked for it. So yeah,
Yeah,
very
anytime
nice.
I can throw that in there, I do my inspirational fabric. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Oh no, it's okay. So what I'm going to ask you now then is, and this is a hard question, especially when you've only been doing this for about a year. How would you describe yourself as a quilter in terms of what style you like? Do you like traditional, the modern? Do you go more for abstract, free form? How would you characterize yourself? Or can you?
Yeah, I thought about that and I don't know. I just do what strikes me, you know.
What grabs
But
you?
yeah, and like that elephant, I wanted to do him so bad because and then like this was my background color, this brown, and then I was like, oh, I decided to change it to the leaves. I'm coming out of the leaves. He's standing in the dirt and coming
Yeah.
out of the leaves, you know. But I don't know. I
So
just
basically you will take the plunge and make the pattern your own. You
yeah,
know, which is something though that a lot of people don't do, especially when they first get started, because they're so afraid they're going to blow it, right? And so
right,
they stick right to the pattern. But it's nice to see when you know, you have to make it your own because if everybody's doing the same thing, there's all the same quilts out there. Yeah.
right,
So
right.
it's nice to see that you take the plunge with that. So I would say you're somewhat fearless. Uh,
Right.
so,
Well, I figured so. I mean, as quilters, we just take the fabric, chop it up in pieces, and bring it home. You know, bring it home, chop it up pieces, sew it back together. So,
yep,
you
yeah,
know,
true. That's why I said somebody said, what's the definition of futile? Quilters, they chop up fabric into pieces, put the pieces all back together again. So those are the people that don't get it.
right.
So I'm assuming you're in your work area right now. So can you tell us a little bit about it? Is this a small room, a large room?
It's probably about 10 feet wide by 9 feet wide because there's like shelves built in and
Oh yeah,
fully doors behind me. So they've cut off about a foot of the room. That's why it took me a minute because I have a long arm over here that's about it's an 8 foot bed. So boy,
okay.
that was that
So
I didn't realize how bit how
yeah,
much
I
room.
know they take up a lot of space. I know
Yep.
that for sure firsthand, actually. So in your room, so you've got your sewing machine. Do you have it like set up in what do they call the triangular style, you know, where you can
Yeah.
swivel around to your pressing station or to your cutting mat and then back to your machine?
Right behind me here, I have my pressing station on a little TV tray. I
Right?
mean, I do have a regular ironing board I can bring in here if I
Yeah.
need to. Then I have this table over here that I have recently stacked up with fabric. I'm a little bit of a fabric hoarder.
I think
And
we all are.
and then I have a desk over here that for Christmas my husband bought me a 40-inch TV that I went in to go buy a small one for my desktop computer that he just bought me. And they had this one at Walmart for $98. So I figured, well, might as well buy the smart TV, you know.
Yep.
And it was a little bit bigger than what I wanted, but just sits on the back of the table. So I have it sitting on my desk that also has an area, it's a sewing desk, also has an area to drop down to put a sewing machine in.
Right.
But I didn't like that. So I have the sew study table that goes on my Janome
Oh
at
yeah.
my other sewing machine.
Yeah.
But
So let's talk about your sewing machines. I see right now in what I'm looking at, you have a Juki.
yes,
So I'm assuming that's a Juki straight stitch machine.
yes, and I love it. I love this thing so, so much.
That's
But
what I've heard from anybody that has a Juki. They love them, absolutely love them.
yes, this is an industrial Juki. This isn't like most of them, they have the 2000 T something. But this is a DDL 5550N. And since I worked in the sewing factories, I just wanted one so bad. And I was looking at them and to buy them used because that's what I was gonna do, that they cost I could buy a brand new one for pretty close to the same money. So why not buy
Yeah.
brand new? And it sits inside of its own nice table. It's a nice size table. And it's got, I mean, my foot pedal is like this. And
You won't
I've
miss
got
that.
I mean, everything that I could ever want on it. I love it. And for the other stitches, I have a brand new Janome. I think it's 3000 HD. It's got all the fancy stitches, and then I probably have 11 other sewing machines besides that.
Did you say 11 other
Yeah.
sewing machines?
Yeah, yeah, I'm a little bit. I keep telling myself I need to do something, find somebody that needs sewing machine or something like that, because most of them are in sewing cabinets.
Oh, geez.
That's my favorite way, have that
Yeah.
flat surface. And
Where do
they're
you
in my
where do you
dining
keep
room
them?
and kitchen, my dining room and my living room.
You've got sewing machines everywhere. My goodness. Now, out of all those sewing machines, you don't happen to have a featherweight, do you?
No, no,
Oh,
no,
you
I'd never heard of a featherweight before.
Oh, no? What, you
No.
not just now when I mentioned it?
No, other people have talked about them. There's this one gal, I don't know if you know who I'm talking about, So Terry. I think she has
Yes. Yes.
featherweight, and there's several other people in the chat stuff talk about them, but I've never seen one in person. So
Well, I have, but I don't own one. And they seem to be something that people aspire to own. And I really don't know why, because they're just old. I mean, they run well. They're just a straight stitch machine, and the whole bit. But I don't understand the fascination with those as well. Though some people say because they take it to retreats, it's light, it does what they want it to do. I
right,
guess I'm all
right,
about computer technology. So give me all the
right.
buzzers and the bells. Even if I don't want to use them, I want them.
Yes. See, I didn't want that. That's why I almost messed up when I bought this. I almost bought one like that. And I was so angry with myself. So the next morning I called the Sewing Machines Plus I bought it from out in California, but they brought it to me from New Jersey. They have a warehouse here. And I called them and I told them, I said, oh, no, no, no. I said, please, I don't want that sewing machine. And this one actually costs more than the one with the bells and whistles,
Oh,
which I thought was weird, but this one's coming out of Japan, and this head right here, just the head, not the motor and everything, it weighs about 65 pounds because it was
that's
heavy
not
when I put it
portable.
up. Right. No, no, it's not portable at all. It's on wheels. I bought it on
Yeah.
casters, which they say, oh, don't do that. Well, I've never had a problem with mine flipping over. I don't have small children in
Yeah.
the house, and if
Yeah.
they come in the house, I will close this door. But
Yeah. So you mentioned though that you have a long arm as well. So what kind of long arm do you have?
I have probably the cheapest of the line, but I'd never heard of that either. And so yeah, out in, I think they're in,
Las Vegas.
yeah, not Las Vegas.
Yeah.
They had a sale going on, and so I was talking to my husband about it. Well, I called in that night and said yeah, and then I had to talk over um the
Cool.
things about how how big,
Oh,
because
right,
there's
right.
several
Yeah.
different you could, I think there's 3 different size tables you could get on it.
Yeah.
And because you can get down to a 5 foot, which 5 foot's not very big.
No,
And
that's
and I got an 8 foot. I thought about a 12 foot, but that wouldn't even think about fitting into this
yeah.
room. And I didn't want to take over the living room just yet.
Just yet, yes.
And so I got the Moxie, and I love it. And I know a lot of people, they say, oh, you'll want to go up bigger, but I'm quite content with that
Yeah.
one.
Well, that's all that matters. Doesn't matter what anybody else says, as long as it's working for you, what you want, then that's okay. 8 feet isn't bad. I
Right.
mean, that can do a full size quilt.
Right.
So, and I mean, yeah, sure. if you want to do a queen or a king, well, you couldn't do a king on it, and I'm not sure about a queen, but you know, lately I've been downsizing on the size of the quilts I make too. You know, I think when you first get into it, you want to make the big ones, you know, for the bed, for the
Oh,
bed,
yeah.
you know, kind of a thing. But they're also a lot heavier to push around on a machine, even if you have a long arm as well.
Yeah.
So, do you have a favorite tool, something that you reach for all the time when you're quilting?
Can
And
I say two?
sure can.
These two things right here. I know most people don't like this, but I couldn't quilt without it or this. And this is a Olfa, which they're the original ones that make them. I have a Martelli, but I don't know if it's the way my mind works and my hands work or what. I'm just not a fan of Martelli, and I love this Olfa. I have several different brands, and this is my favorite. And this is my favorite one because I love red and pink and stuff
Yep,
like that, you know. And then this a friend gave me. It's a stiletto on one end,
yep,
you seam ripper on the other, and I love this thing. This
yes,
is my favorite tool of all, and this is my second favorite.
yep. Well, you
My
can't live
rulers, of
without those.
course.
Yep.
And my rulers, of course.
If anybody tells you that they never use a seam ripper, you know they're lying,
Right. Right.
because we need that. And I agree with you. I love my Olaf um rotary cutters as well. And I've got those Martelli ones too. And they're supposed to be, you know, easier on your hand, ergonomic. And I don't like them.
Right.
I never use them. And I bought the two sizes at the time. And yeah, I mean, it's not to say they're not a good tool. It's just for me, you know, I just
Right.
don't, I'm not comfortable with it. Maybe I should use it more often, but yeah, I'll stick to my Olive. Okay, so if you had then all the money in the world, is there a piece of equipment you would invest in?
A she shed.
I had a feeling, you know. You know why I think that too? Is because when I ask that question, if the person does not have a long arm, their first answer will be a long arm. But if they have a long arm, the next thing is something to do with having a lot more space. And
Right.
usually as a separate physical building. So a
Yep.
sheesh, yeah.
And let me tell you, the thought has come to my mind to either because I have a beautiful dining room set, so I couldn't take over my dining room. But I have thought about like moving our sofa and stuff. My husband has what I thought was going to be my she shed.
No.
It's a studio out in the yard. It's a
Oh,
separate building here that the
right.
people buy. And I don't even know because she wasn't crafty and neither was he. I think they used it as because they had a bar in the living room. They used to
Okay.
party a lot.
All
And
right.
I don't know. I'm not sure if they were older than us or not, but they both passed on now. They moved down to Florida with their daughter. And but he has my perfect broom out there. And he could be just fine in here, but
You're gonna have to work on him.
I know.
Convince
But
him.
I do have two rooms. The other room I have stuffed with yarn and all kinds of crafting stuff. And then this room is working on it too. I had nothing in here when I started.
Well, you know, but we fill the space up, don't we? Because
Mhm.
yeah, and we never have enough space. You know, that's the thing too. I'd love to have an annex, as I would call it, onto my property too, as
Right.
well. Have it all there. I have a couple of rooms as well. I mean, my sewing room, and then I have what I call my Lucy room. That's for my long arm. So yeah, I know all about wanting to have a she shed or a he shed or whatever you want to call it. So, you know, you mentioned before I go on here with a different question that you do other things besides quilting and that, and you said yarn. So, are you a knitter or crocheter?
Both. This is my favorite sweater of all time. It goes down between
Oh,
my
yeah.
ankles and my knees, and I hand knit this and I dyed the yarn even.
Wow, you
And
dyed the yarn too.
yes, I'm also a yarn dyer.
Wow.
Keep forgetting to turn my brightness down so you can see a little bit better. But
Yeah,
I
that's
love this
gorgeous.
sweater. And then
So,
I did this one also. Isn't that pretty?
oh
It's
yeah, it
fuchsia
is.
colored.
Yeah, and I like the design of the collar, the way it goes
Yeah, it's
down
called
the
a
ribbing.
shawl collar. Now,
Yeah.
neither one of these I used a pattern. I do the same thing with my yarn as I do with um my patterns and stuff. If well, I can just take a piece of fabric and make something out of it, and so I'm not afraid of it. And
That's
then
an amazing kind of talent to be able to do that.
the same with this one. I have knit these sleeves. This is for my husband.
Okay.
He has more sweaters than I do. One more sweater I've made for me. And his sweater, I I knit the sleeves, they were way too big. I
Oh,
took them out. I let him wear it last winter, and the sleeves were way too big. Well, every time we would go to eat, he would get the sleeves in his food.
oh.
So I took them off. I reknit them. Well, the top part is a little too snug on him.
No.
So this summer, I got to take the sleeves back off, or this spring, and knit them again. 3 times I've knit these sleeves.
You'd almost be better off just to start a whole brand new sweater.
But he's like, "You're gonna take my sweater apart again?" I said, "You'll get it back. It'll be fine." He's like, "Okay."
Yeah.
But
Well, at least you can tell him I'm making it so it fits you comfortably,
right.
So no
Well,
more.
he doesn't mind because he's had 3 strokes, and sometimes when he gets stressed, I gotta straighten him up and stuff like that. But people don't know that, they wouldn't really notice it. I do because
Yeah.
I'm with him 24/7.
Yeah, well, it's good that he's got someone like you to look after him so he doesn't go out half cocked around with his
Right.
outfits and everything. Let's change thought patterns here for a minute and let's talk about groups. Have you ever belonged to a guild or an online or in-person group?
Well, nothing, no guilds or anything, but I do belong to a online Zoom thing that we do with Donna by
Mhm.
Handmade by Ying with Donna,
Right?
and a few other friends that I've become friends with that we will quilt day in and stuff. And
Oh,
I didn't show you the other thing I crochet.
yes, let's
I'll
see.
take these pot holders.
Oh yeah, those are nice. They look nice and thick too.
Yeah, they are. People love these.
Yeah.
My
Yeah, the
cat.
problem with the pot holder when somebody makes them, oftentimes I found they're too thin. You need something like they're a
My
hot
feet.
holder, usually hold hot stuff.
Yeah, yeah, these are very thick.
But the when you're talking about the groups and things like that, I think a lot of us discovered over COVID, I mean, the whole wonderful world of Zoom, like we're using right now. And I think that's really increased contact with other people of like minds when it comes to quilting or sewing in general as well. So I think that's a great thing. But do you ever have any desire to belong to a guild or an in-person group of some sort?
Mm, Not real sure because I know this might sound funny, but sometimes women, when you put them together, they can get to be pretty petty.
Mhm.
My stuff's better than yours, and judging other people, I guess. That's why, I go to church and stuff, but I've had, bad things happen. Sometimes, people aren't as friendly as like they might seem on the outside and stuff. So me and my husband will go, and shortly after, we pick up our things, shake the minister's hands, everything, tell him what a wonderful uh sermon all he'd
Yep.
had, and we go on about our way, because sometimes interaction with other people isn't the best, if you know what
Well,
I mean.
yeah. I don't want to say too much about the ladies because I'll get in a lot of trouble. So I'm not going to say a word about that. Just to say that I kind of understand what you mean with that. Okay, before we get ourselves into a lot more trouble here, let's move on.
Well, the reason I say that is because I used to do that with knitting,
Oh,
and the knitting community even hit the national news. It's a thing called Ravelry.
oh
And I
yes.
quit going to my knitting shop for that reason,
Oh,
because of all that. But okay, go
yeah.
ahead. I'm sorry.
Now we'll leave that. That's okay. But I know exactly what you're talking about, and I'm sure other people out there know what you mean too. So,
Mhm.
and it's not just us.
No.
There's others too. So when you talk about going to your store and things like that, do you have a local store where you pick up your supplies, or do you do a lot of online buying or a combination of the two?
I do a combination. I have a quilt shop that I walk in the door. It's owned by two sisters. It used to be owned by the mom and the dad, and the sisters work there. And they also have a brother, but their brother went off. He's an architect or something. And I walk in the door and they're like, oh, you know, they're all happy to see me. And my husband says just because they see dollar bills. And he says that's because you've spent $1 million in their shop. I've only bought 1, 2, 3, 4, I think 5 sewing machines from them. So
Oh, that's all? Oh, really? Come now.
but yeah, I mean, and then I buy from the Fat Quarter Shop. I love the Fat Quarter Shop.
Yes.
As soon as I order it, it's pretty much out in the mail, you know, and I get their sew sampler. I love that box.
Yeah. I love what you say though about going into the store. When I go into our local quilt store here, yeah, you can hear the ka-ching, ka-ching, he's here, because I go in for one thing, I come out with an armload. So,
Yep.
oh, I didn't see that fabric. That's pretty, that's new, and I
Mhm.
have that. Do
Yeah,
people
fabric has a tendency to jump in my buggy, if
yeah,
you know what I mean.
yeah, and I just love the questions when I go in there and I'm buying fabric, and there's always someone, another customer in the store says, so what are you going to make with that? And they don't like my answer because I usually say, I don't know, it's pretty.
Yep.
You know,
That's
I want it in my stash. I like to,
yep.
I like to feel it.
Marinate, right?
Yeah. So you buy from the Fat Quarter Shop, which a lot of people do. I wish I could do that too more, but it's the shipping and the exchange rate in Canada is just astronomical for anything. But do
Then
you
you have something else that you have to pay. What's it called?
duty?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we sometimes get nailed with duty too, which is just another tax.
Which
So
I guess is a toss in the hat, whether they're gonna pick you or not to
yeah,
pay duty.
yep, that's exactly it. You never know when it's going to happen. You spin the big wheel. But so do you have any aversions to buying your fabric online? The reason I ask you that question is because some people have said to me they will never buy it online because they want to feel the fabric and they don't trust that they're going to get good quality fabric. Do you have any qualms about that kind of thing?
No, because Fat Quarter Shop, Kimberly Jolly herself is a quilter. And I mean, I've never been disappointed with anything. I mean, anything I purchased from them. And I mean, I get their what are these things called? I get them once a month, which I'm should be getting one in the mail soon. It's a Fat Quarter pack, and
Yes.
it's Moda fabric, and everybody knows Moda fabric is wonderful. So, you know, I mean, if you're buying something that you don't know anything about it, then, you know, maybe you should be skeptical. But yeah, I mean, same thing with buying stuff on Amazon, you know.
Yep.
I've been burnt more than once so through there. So I
Yes,
mean,
true. Yeah, but it's basically a buyer beware. And if you stick to the brand names of fabric like Moda and the other ones out there, you know you're going to get quality. So that's what I tell people. I have no qualms as long as it's a brand name. But if you buy the ones you don't know what the name is and it says it comes from China, well, I'd be skeptical
yeah.
about that.
Yeah.
So, do you have any favorite sources of information or inspiration that you go to time and time again when you want to learn something new, or or just want to get some ideas about something?
I have so many books and magazine. I get a magazines every month, and I have so many books that I'm trying to sew through right now. Like I'm working on this one right here, the Summer Moon. I didn't mean to show that, but I'm working on this
Oh
book
wow,
right now.
that's going to take a
And
while.
but I'm not yeah, I'm not doing it like everyone else says. They're doing it like a monthly thing. I'm
Oh,
just working from the beginning to the end of the book.
yeah, I've got
And
one like that too. Yeah. Do you
yeah,
like
I love that.
samplers? Do you like sampler quilts?
Yeah. Yeah, because like, you know, as a new quilter, I'm learning all these different ways of making blocks and putting them together. And like the sew sampler that I get from Fat Quarter Shop, they always come with patterns in them, and which are wonderful. And you know, learn new stuff.
Yeah,
So that's
I'm
what I'm all about, learning new things.
I'm
So
a pattern whore. I have more patterns than I'll ever get to in my lifetime with it. But
same here.
like squirrel, oh, I'm working on this thing, and then I look over there. Oh, that one looks like fun. I have to get that pattern. So yeah,
Right.
but I do like sampler quilts, so because I find them interesting to make because it's not the same thing repeated over and over and over again. Because I have an attention span of a dog kind of a
Yep.
thing.
Squirrel,
Some
squirrel, squirrel.
Yeah, squirrel. So that keeps me at least doing something productive. So let's talk
Yeah.
about your YouTube channel. When did you start it and why?
I started it back in the middle of December. I think it was the 18th, right around in there. And I was on a channel with some other ladies, but if anybody goes back and watches me on there, I was usually sitting and sewing, doing other stuff because nobody let me talk.
Oh,
And so I just decided, well, you know what? Instead of having to deal with all of that, let me just go out on my own and start, just doing my own thing and chit chatting with the subscribers and stuff, and they will bring up topics, and I get to chit chat with them, and then I got my sister. She sews, but
right.
she's not a quilter. She's hoping that I will teach her.
Oh,
She's my older sister too.
right.
Her and she takes care of my nephew that was in an accident quite a few years
Oh,
ago. And so, she's not got a lot of spare
time.
time on her hands, but I'll probably eventually make them, because that's when I crocheted blankets all the time. Like,
Yeah.
I've got a blanket here that, when I get chilly in the winter time, he'll go back out to the living room here soon. But I crocheted because I had come down with cancer, and I had crocheted my whole family quilt blankets so that they had something to remember me by, because usually if you got stage 4 cancer, you're going to die. And so I'd crocheted all of them, blankets and everything, but I beat it because
Great.
I wasn't
Wonderful.
ready to leave my husband. He needs somebody to take care of him. And I
Yeah.
don't know, I got off on the left wing there.
That's
Forgot what the question was.
Well, I'm looking at your YouTube channel as we speak right now, and I'm just checking out some of the videos that you have on it. And I notice you've got some things there about knitting um,
Mhm.
as well. And you don't have a lot yet because you only started it in December, so it's only been 2 months
Right,
old. But what I'm looking
right.
at, it's very informative, great tutorials by the looks of things. I'm not a knitter. Are you going to put up a few more things about quilt, like in the form of tutorials?
Well, though I tell people it's how not to do things, because as I'm sewing along, I'm sitting there chatting. Guess what? I've sewed my pieces together wrong.
It happens.
So then
It
I
happens.
bring up my little Jack friend here. I tell him this is more of how not to do stuff than how to do stuff. But yeah, I'm not at the teaching stage. But I am going to do some tutorials on some people want to know how to make these pot holders,
Yeah.
because it's an old pattern from years and years ago, and they want to know how to make those. I'm going to do a couple of those, but yeah, probably eventually after I get a little bit better, maybe I might do tutorials. But
When you get a little bit
right
more
now,
comfortable, probably with the technology and the whole bit, because YouTube's a little different world, as well. It takes a little time to get into it and to get comfortable. You're putting yourself out there. That makes you a little bit vulnerable. And but
yeah,
you're showing your mistakes, and I admire you for doing that because that's what I do too, because I believe people learn from the mistakes and they can learn from other people's mistakes. And it's not the end of
right.
the world, and let people know that because people want to quilt, they take a look at some of the Jenny Dones and the Jordan Donna Jordans and things like that, and they go, "Oh my God, and they start on a quilt and it doesn't come out like that," and they get discouraged. Well, no, you
Hmm.
have to start somewhere. It's just fabric and
Right.
thread, as the Quilting Marine says, kind of a thing.
That's where this quilt come from. That was my I think that was my first ever quilt that I did, and I love it. It's got
Yeah,
the
very nice
made it
quilt.
for my granddaughter, and I still haven't quilted it on the long arm, but I love it. I don't know if I want to get rid of it.
Yeah, I know that's the other problem, right? We get really attached to them and
Mhm.
and we go, oh, I don't know if I want to give that up yet. I'm at that stage right now where I'm going to have to get over that because I have too many quilts. And I've
Right,
been quilting only a little longer than you. I've been quilting now for about 5 years. So,
right.
it accumulates pretty quick, especially when you're sewing every day. So, do you have
Mhm.
any plans or challenges or goals for the future in terms of projects or maybe things for your YouTube channel or just in your personal life?
Um, I'm as soon as I get a chance to finish up these, no, here they are. My summer moon. This is all I got going on them. I'm gonna sew them together, and I pretty much I'll cut the pieces because it's a paid for pattern, so you can't
Yeah,
give the sizes out.
yeah.
And I sew while I'm chatting
Mhm.
on my channel, and then I just quilt sewing along as I'm doing stuff, and then eventually when I get as I'm learning how to do my long arm, my plan is to do that on the channel also. Let people
Yeah,
see how a beginner does things. Because
yeah.
I did buy one of those. What are those cameras? But I bought an off-brand one. Those sports cameras
Oh, the
that you can GoPro. Yeah,
GoPro, that's
I
it. Yeah.
bought a off-brand one of those, and I've got a stand for it and everything to hook it up on my long arm to see how I'm quilting and stuff. But I haven't quite figured out how to do all that. I have those things going
I know
from my
that's
ceiling.
yeah, the technology behind it all. A lot of people don't realize that when you're doing your recording for a YouTube video, there's a lot of maneuvering of equipment to, get those
Hmm.
shots in. So,
Right.
do you have any advice for anyone that wants to get started into quilting? You've had I got a good year under your belt, so you know a few things now. So what would you suggest?
First off, don't fall into the trap saying that you need all the rulers. I bought a kit. Now I don't like that ruler that came in the kit. And my major thing was it doesn't have a hole so I can hang it because I hang all my rulers up. But I would start out with Quilter Select because they have a film on the bottom of them
Yeah.
to that grips your fabric, because even though they say these creative grids do, they still slip
Yes, they do.
for me. Why do people gotta call me? I hope you can't hear that.
Nope, didn't hear a thing. Yeah,
But
that's usually when they call you.
right. But is to buy, like,
A ton.
this is a good size. A 4.5 by 12
Yeah,
is a good size ruler to start out with. And then a smaller one too. I like a smaller
yeah,
ruler. And then your rotary cutter. I call this a chopper, my fabric chopper. And then a good, not just the little seam rippers that come in your with your sewing machine.
yeah,
I like a good seam ripper. These ones are perfect because they've got weight to them and all. That helps a lot. And then these are from back in my sewing days. I have a couple of pairs of these. They're snips. They
yeah,
fit right on your finger, and you can sew and hold them. I
yeah.
mean, I would spend days. Oh, I forgot. I forgot I had my slips on,
I know.
and but you don't need all of the things. And a really good pair of scissors. I have um darn, I forgot gingers.
Yeah, I was gonna say gingers. Yeah,
That is, I know they've come out with these Kai, and I've never seen a pair of those. Maybe they're as good. I don't know. But gingers, I have two pairs of those: a dressmaker and a tailor's pair.
yeah,
Those, I mean, and then I like a small scissors. These came in my sew sampler, and these are super duper sharp too. But good pair of scissors. And whatever marking tool. You can use just a regular pencil, regular pen, or I like these friction pens.
Yeah.
Some people call them friction, but to me that says friction,
Yeah, I know.
ION.
Yes. I think they're trying to be clever
Yeah,
with their spelling. Yeah.
right. But I love these, especially when they come out with the clicker ones, you know.
Yes.
And then I have these little things on my sewing machine. I don't know if you watched any of my videos, but I found these things. Darn, now I don't see them. Oh, here they are. These things called halo rings. And you glue them onto your sewing machine and can put stuff in them.
Oh,
They pop out, they open up. This little spring thing here
yeah.
opens up, and then you have your notions that you need right here
Right there.
handy on your sewing machine.
So are they kind of magnetic or they have a sticky back to them?
They
Or
have a sticky back to them.
no,
Yeah, and I've had them on here for quite a while, and they haven't even tried to come off. Oh, here's the open pack, what I was looking for. Got my lollipops on top. I love a lollipop.
Okay.
But yeah, you just put something, you just put your
Oh.
whatever inside, and then it sticks. It's a 3M product.
Ooh,
Just
that's a
sticks
good
down.
idea. I like
Mhm.
those.
I love
They're
these little
called
things.
Halo, are they?
Yes, Halo, HALO rings. And
Oh,
you get
okay.
them from Sew for Less.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, they're
I'll have to look into those because I could use something like that.
I can't
So,
remember how much they were. They weren't too expensive because I bought 2 more packs. My husband, he's always finding things. He put them on the side of his amp meter.
yeah.
He's into tools like I'm
Yeah.
into fabric and all. And I put one on his tablet because he kept losing his stylus. So I put one on there for him. And he keeps coming up with all these ideas. And I said, he said, well, order some more. That's what he made using all my halo rings.
Well, that may be the find of the week then on those because I had not heard of those before.
Yeah, I'm trying
So,
to look, see. Oh, there's 12 in a pack.
oh, okay. Well, that's not bad.
Mm-mm.
So basically, as far as advice goes for other people, it sounds like what you're saying is you don't need to spend a lot of money to get into it, you know, because I did. I bought all the rulers there were. Yeah.
Right.
I
And you don't use them, do you?
no, I do not. There's about 2 rulers I use the most out of it.
Mhm.
So, yep. But you know,
Just
when you
with the basics. Yeah. Don't go out there going hog wild. And another wonderful thing is my sewing machine doesn't have a threader on it.
oh yeah, okay.
And so this little thing, I love these little
I have a couple of those too. Yeah, they work
yeah,
well.
it's a little hummingbird. They come in different colors. I got a
Yeah,
purple one. They're from Dritz. And
yeah,
this thing's wonderful.
yeah, they work really well. I've got a couple of those too for that. Well, anything, any final words that you would like to say or anything while I still have you on here?
I don't know. Just go out there, make something beautiful, and don't worry about the mistakes and all because they're bound to happen.
Yep.
I mean, I've been sewing all my life, and I still, have my
Yep.
best buddy, and he sits right here. He's real handy. I kept banging things on my videos, so I got one of my little pot holders sitting here, so I'm not bringing stuff on my because people don't realize that when they're doing videos, your microphone picks up everything.
Yes.
Before I do a video, and I'm sure you can hear like the last video, a fly kept landing on my my camera. I was like, Lordy. They were like, we can hear the fly, Suze. I'm like, sorry. But I'll tell my husband he has to be quiet because and he'll come back here talking to me. I'm live. I'm like, okay, I hear you. And I'd gone out there, told him I was going to be live, and he'd still. But yeah, just don't go out there and think you got to have everything all at once. I'm sure you'll wind up with
Yeah.
a bunch
You'll
of.
you'll accumulate no matter what, that's for sure. Well, Susan, I want to thank you so much for agreeing to do this interview. This was great. A lot of good information. I'm definitely going to look for those Hello rings because that's my takeaway today, right there, along with everything else in your beautiful creations. And I wish you best of luck with your future endeavors and your development as a quilter. And yeah, so you enjoy the rest of your day and don't go away from me right now. I'm just going to sign off here. And yeah, so thanks again, Susan.
Okay. Toodles.